I'm a big animal lover, so for me it's really been wonderful. I love to see the personalities that these various animals have. And the differences between one camel and the next. And we've had everything from very ancient-looking oxen to exotic birds that I never knew existed, to these very, very primitive ants that don't exist at all, that we're busy creating ourselves.
The tricky thing about doing a movie that takes place in 3000 BC is that, of course, the second you turn on the camera, you have to create the entire world behind the actors. For animals, we had to get horses and oxen, camels, scorpions. We pretty much had every kind of primitive animal you could find. And of course, coordinating that and building saddles that looked like they were from 3000 BC to go on all the horses and the camels was also, you know, quite an undertaking as well.
Different animals that we have, it helps to get into character that way because you're not around those kind of animals all the time. So to see the camel, to see the horses and donkeys, and to be around such fabulous horses, it puts you right there, so it helps with the characterization.
When are you going to get rid of that filthy beast?
He doesn't mean anything by it.
Horses are faster.
But camels are smarter.
The addition of the camel, of a beautiful white camel, in the film just gave Matthias again just something different, and that extra added that element of something special, and it's very unique. You know, that here's this Akkadian assassin, this warrior, Scorpion King, and he's riding on just a beautiful white camel as opposed to a horse.
I thought that taking the camel as the Rock's ride, as he calls it, and giving them a personal relationship would be a lot of fun.
Well, the first thing I said to him when I met him, I said, when can you start learning to ride a camel? Because we knew he'd never ridden a horse, or had seldom ridden a horse. We were going to have to get him looking pretty proficient, because the camel, of course, plays one of his chief sidekicks in the movie, and he had to look completely natural and feel comfortable on and off and beside the camel for the whole picture.
Riding a camel was, learning how to ride a camel was an interesting experience with Sled Reynolds, who is the animal guy of the industry.
We actually lucked out. We had a really fantastic older camel at the beginning of the film, and Rock was really able to learn to ride pretty competently.
It wasn't necessarily that difficult at first. Of course, having with the tutelage and guidance that Sled was able to provide to me was fine. But what happened was we had a camel, one of his camels. Scirocco was a very well-trained 15-year-old camel who would listen to Sled and was very coachable and very likable, and took to people very well. The other camel we got is a 4-year-old rambunctious camel who doesn't like people and certainly doesn't like me.
You know, the camel sometimes has a good day, and this camel sometimes doesn't want you on him. And I think the camel especially didn't like Rock, because every time Rock got on his back, he'd be screaming the whole time, complaining and screaming and screaming. It was really difficult to get dialogue out when the camel was screaming.
Whoa. Little did I know that camels really don't naturally like people, and the variety of camels we had to use to create the one character included the nice camel for the scenes where he nuzzles the Rock, to the really crazy camel, because it takes a crazy camel to charge at a dozen horses in that sandstorm scene. A normal camel is much too smart and not very cooperative, and would never run at a dozen horsemen directly like that. So we had to take the youngest, wildest camel we could find for that particular sequence that didn't mind running at it. It wasn't a very well-behaved camel. And in fact, it was really the one case in the film where I had to talk to The Rock about the safety issues. While I can stage these fights so that while they might be risky, there's, a very reasonable safety element. That was an unpredictable camel. The camel was throwing the wranglers. I mean, out there in the desert as we prepared to shoot the scene, and when I was speaking to The Rock about it, saying, listen, this camel's wild. I'm not sure you can handle it. We should talk about this. I really had to ask his opinion before I made the decision. And as I was speaking to him, the camel happened to ride by at that point with a wrangler completely out of control and threw the wrangler. And I looked down at the guy, and unfortunately it was sand, so he didn't get hurt too badly. But as we both looked down at the camel's latest victim, The Rock looked at me and said, "Don't worry, I can handle the camel. It's cool."